So the question says, the Western National Bank is reviewing its service charges and interest paying policies on current accounts. The average daily balance on personal current accounts is 5,500 with a standard deviation of shillings 150. In addition, the average daily balances are normally distributed. The bank is considering paying interest to customers carrying average daily balances in excess of a certain amount. If the bank does not want to pay interest to more than 5% of its customers, determine the minimum daily balance it will be willing to pay interest on. Good. Welcome. So we are being told to get the minimum balance that the bank will be willing to pay interest on. And for us to do that, we will approach it using a normal probability distribution. So minimum balance. So here we draw the normal curve that way. Draw the normal curve. And here we have X bar, and we are told the mean savings is 5,500. And the standard deviation is 150. So if they're asking for the minimum balance, so that we do not pay interest more than 5% of customers, it means that our X1 is here. This is the one we do not know. And we know that the whole of this should just be 5%, 0.05. So that tells you that this space that remains here is 0.45. Because we said that the whole of that should be 0.5. So that being true, we then proceed and say X1 should be equal to X bar plus Z standard deviation. X1 should be equal to X bar plus Z standard deviation. That is Z1. So from the tables, Z1 should be positive. I told you that as long as we have the other on the higher side, Z will be positive. So tell me from the tables, 0.45. After 0.45 from the tables, you tell me what it is. Point? 176. You get inside the tables, you look for 0.45. This one is the probability. You may not get it exactly, but the one that is closest. 1.65. So if we have 1.65, it then means that X1 should be 5,500 plus 1.65 multiplied by the standard deviation of 150.
When you find the value of Z, you are looking for 0.45.
Yes.
Value is
You take either. Yes, you take either. Whichever you want. So copy that and give me the answer so that we proceed. Okay, so the next question says that Greer Tire Company has just developed a new steel-belted radio tire that will be sold through a national chain of discount stores. Because the tire is a new product, the company's management believes that the mileage guarantee offered with the tire will be an important factor in the consumer acceptance of the product. Before finalizing the tire mileage guarantee policy, the actual road test with the tires shows that the mean tire mileage is mu equals to that kilometers, and the standard deviation is that kilometers. In addition, the data collected indicate that a normal distribution is a reasonable assumption. So you are required, Roman 1, Greer Tire Company will distribute the tires if 20% of the tires manufactured can be expected to last more than 40,000 kilometers. Should the company distribute the tires? So again, in answering that, we will have we'll have to draw a normal table. We'll have to draw a normal table like this. Whereby we have the mean here. That is X bar. And this X bar, we are told, is 36,500. And the standard deviation here, we are told it is 5,000 kilometers. And we are also told that they will distribute if we can get more than 20% covering more than 40,000 kilometers. So 40,000 will be then somewhere here. X1, this is 40,000. So we are looking for this. We are looking for that side, the probability of that. And it will then follow that Z1 will be equal to X1 minus X bar. You divide by standard deviation. And this gives us 40,000 minus that 6,500. You divide by the standard deviation of 5,000. So you give me the answer. Zero 0.7. Exact, eh? So 0.70. So then you say that from the tables, probability that X is greater than or equal to 40,000 will be equal to 0.5 minus. So read from the tables. Okay. 0.2580. So when you subtract, point 242, which is 24.2%. So what do you advise? Now what we shall advise is that they should distribute, because they have said they only distribute if what is more than 40,000 is found to be more than 20%. Now we have confirmed that it will exactly be 24. So this is more than 24. I mean, it's more than 20. So the advice is that they should distribute the tires. They should distribute the tires because 24%, 24.2% will be able to do more than 40,000 kilometers. Yes, you have them. You have them. Are you in class yesterday?
Yeah.
Or are you in class in the other time?
Yeah, the same also.
You are in class?
Yeah.
We are continuing from where we had stopped. Okay, so that is okay. The company will provide a discount on a new set of tires if the mileage of the original tires does not exceed the mileage stated on the guarantee. Now, what should the guarantee mileage be? If the company wants no more than 10% of the tires to be eligible for the discount. If we do not want more than 10% to be eligible for the discount, then what will happen? Once again, we draw our normal table that way. So here is our X bar, which is at 6,500. And the standard deviation is 5,000. Obviously, those fellows who will enjoy the discount are the ones whose tires will be on the lower side. So that is the one that we want to know. But we are told the company does not want to give discounts to more than 10%. So this tells you that this side should be 0.1, while this side should be 0.4. That space should be 0.4. Now, as you have been saying, X1 will be X bar plus Z1 standard deviation. X1 will be equal to X bar plus Z1 standard deviation. So you then say from the tables, Z1. Now remember that our X is on the lower side, so it will be negative. So go to your tables and look for 0.4 and then tell me that is what? The figure that is exact, very close to that, because most likely it's not exact. 1.28. So if we have 1.28, then our X1 should be that 6,500 plus negative 1.28. You multiply by 5,000. You multiply by 5,000. Umesema 30,000? 100 kilometers. The last question says that due to high operational costs, Hekima Commercial Bank wishes to close those savings accounts that do not maintain a certain minimum monthly balance. Currently, the mean monthly balance of the savings account is 25,000 with a standard deviation of 5,000. The bank wishes to close 10% of the accounts with the lowest monthly balance. Further, the balances are assumed to be normally distributed. Required, the monthly balance that HCB should require in savings accounts customers to maintain in order for the account not to be closed. Okay, so with that, if we don't want the account to be closed, it will be like this. So obviously this is 0.1 and this is 0. Hiyo hata inafanana na hii ingine. So this is what you're looking for. So this is 25,000 and this is 5,000. So solve and tell me x1 is what? X1 is what? So what have you gotten? No matter how much? 18,600. Good. I think I have come with my master. So in your past papers, I would like you to attempt the following questions. The question of May 2014, question 2B. May 2014, question 2B. December 2017, question 2C. December 2017, question 2C. I think you can first of all deal with those ones. Okay, so now we are through with that area of probabilities for now. I want us to proceed to the next topic, which is called decision making, which is called decisions making. Decisions making. Now I'll give you a full notes after this lesson. But for now, I want us just to briefly discuss and make very short notes on the same. The first point is when we talk of a decision, it simply refers to a choice among options. A choice of one option among options. That is what we mean. You can make the short notes as I also make. That is what we call a decision. Like you are coming to this class this morning is a choice you made. You had many other options. You could have decided to continue sleeping, or you come to town and do other things, or you go elsewhere. But you chose to come to class. That is a decision. Now, in making a decision, we are guided by what we call, we are guided by two things. One, there is what we call personal preference. We are guided by personal preference. Now, personal preference, it is what you desire as a person. It is what makes you happy. It is your opinion. Like this morning, if you look around this room, you can see we are all dressed in different colors or different types of clothes. And none of us is poorly or wrongly dressed. Or none of us can be said they are the best dressed. What happened this morning? You went where you keep your clothes. I said, Mario, on Thursday, this is how I will dress. And here we are. Your personal what? Preference. That's why you hear them say that the beauty is on the eye of the beholder. Different persons looking at the same thing, they see different things. Actually, when it comes to matters in relationships, you will quite often hear some people asking others, what are you seeing in this person? Now, the person who is asking you that question cannot know what you have seen. Or if you are the one asking, where's your honor? Yeah, when you are there is what they have seen. Yeah. And this is why it is very, very important as a person who is exposed, never to criticize people's choices. I see people calling others fools and going to criticize them. Don't call me a fool. It is my opinion and I'm entitled to it. You also have viewers. Actually, as a matter of fact, even me, when I look at you and I realize you are not behaving like me, I'm also equally seeing you as a fool. Yeah? Are you getting that? So don't go calling people fools, because in making decisions, we all have personal what? Preference, your choice. You remember when we advise ladies that they are not well dressed, they will be quick to tell us, my dress, my choice. Yes. So personal preference is very, very important. Number two that guides us in making decision is called risk appetite. Risk appetite. Now, by definition, risk is the probability that the actual will be different from the expected. When we talk about risk, it is simply the probability that the actual will be different from the expected. Now, there are three possibilities. That the first one is the actual will be equal to expected. Actual will be equal to expected. Like when you are coming to this class, your head was not empty. You were full of what? Expectations. Now that you are in the class, you are getting the actual. And your mind is quickly comparing what you came expecting and what now you are receiving. If they are the same, no emotion is generated. We just say you become normal. There is no emotion that is generated. The second possibility is where you get that the actual is less than the expected. The actual is less than the expected. Now this generates an emotion called bitterness. An emotion called bitterness or dissatisfaction. The actual is less than. You are expecting the teacher to be here on time, the teacher has not come. You are expecting the teacher to be very good, the teacher is not appearing good. You are even wondering how the semester will end. You are regretting why you paid your money. Now that generates what we call bitterness. And this bitterness is very severe, especially when you remember you already have paid the school fees. And I hope you read in the fee structure that fees once paid cannot be refunded, neither can it be transferred. So ulilipa, you are 20,000. So if you think we are giving you a road deal, then you have two choices. Either ukae na sisi mpaka mwisho and enjoy the road deal, ama uende kwingine ukalipe another 20,000. Now those are very bitter experiences. And when we go through them, that is now when we talk of what? Risk. So when they happen, how do you react? Do you give up? Unasema mimi hata sitawahi soma CPA. Kama walimu ni hao, kama mashule ni hizo, mimi nimeachana na CPA. How do you react? Ama unasema, too bad that I met those fellows. Let me start up, dust off my dust, then I go look for money and I pay somewhere else. I try another way because this CPA I must finish because I started. So how do you react after you get through this discouragement? When the results come and they are not, the actual is below what you were expecting. How do you react? Do you now go blaming everyone and you surrender and say never back to counseling? So how do you react? The other one is where the actual is greater than. The actual is greater than the expected. You just came to Destiny to try. You never thought that is a serious calling. You never thought that Kimani is a good teacher. Now what you are seeing is way above what you are expecting. Now this generates an emotion that is called happiness. Happiness or satisfaction. Now this happiness, it is the one that is manifested by saying thank you. And this bitterness is the one that is manifested by complaining. Fortunately or unfortunately, people will rarely express this feeling. But they will very quickly and in very clear way communicate this one. You see, like since you joined my class, I am very sure I teach you well, and I'm very sure you enjoy my class. But none of you has ever told me that whenever I enjoy your classes, they are good. And I don't think you have any intention. Nitakufunza whole semester tumalizane wewe usome. Na nikijaribu kufuata utaniuliza kwani ulikuwa unataka nini? Silipa. That is all what you are supposed to do. But if for some reasons you think that I'm not teaching you well, if for some reasons you think I'm wasting you, I am sure it will not take more than a week before you gather together, whether to call the principal, Mwambie Kimani must go, he's wasting us. So this one is well communicated. Actually, listen to the conversations of people everywhere. People are always what? Complaining. But very few people will be what? Will be complimenting, will be grateful. And for general life, it is very, very important to be what? To be grateful. Some of these things that we get and people do for us, at times we think it is our right, but it's not our right. Even when your parents are paying your school fees, you need once in a while unaenda unaambia mzee ama mama asante sana for paying my. Si lazima ulipiwe. Are you aware of that? You're looking at me as if you think it's a must. Mzee akikataa kulipa utampeleka wapi? Where will you take them? Yes. Hakuna kitu utafanya wakwambia wewe ni mtu mzima, siko na ID. Jipange kama wale wengine. Some of these things that are done to us, we think they are right, but they are not. So once in a while, it is very, very important to say what? Thank you. Even those of us who are married, when you are served with a cup of tea in the house, you need to say thank you. It's not a must. Naweza itisha chai wapiwa hata wewe unajua kitchen iko wapi. Okay, so that is now what we call risk. Now, risk is measured using two parameters. Is measured using two parameters. One is called standard deviation. One is called standard deviation. That is the first measure. The second one is called coefficient of variation. It's called coefficient of variation. Those are the two measures. And we will be writing the formulas as we have questions, but these are not new things. We came across them when you are doing descriptive statistics. Now, the higher these values are, the higher the risk. The higher these values are, the higher the risk. And in case the two measures contradict, with this one is taken to be a superior measure. In case they contradict, this is taken to be a superior measure. Now, in regard to how we receive risk, decision makers are classified into three. The decision makers, we have three types of them. One, they are called risk neutral. The first group is called risk neutral. Now, these are decision makers who do not consider risk. They just work with averages. They don't care, so to put it. Number two, we have what we call the risk takers. The risk takers. Now, these are fellows who do not fear. They are courageous. They compute risk and they go where the risk is highest. And they do that so that they get a higher return. And the reality of statistics have it that these people usually end up getting more returns. As you advance and you study finance, you'll be told that the higher the risk, the higher the return. The higher the risk, the higher the return. Then category number 3, they are called risk averse. These are the cowards. These are the fellows who do not want to take risk. These are the fellows who want to play safe. They don't want to go to any ground that they are not very sure. They only say that they normally say, I only move when I'm very sure. Consequently, they end up getting very few returns or very low returns because you are waoga. And even in general life, if you come out in waoga, you end up getting very little in this life. You must be courageous. You must take what? Risk. And this is one of the reasons that explains why some of these fellows who are not very educated, they are doing so well in business compared to those of us who are educated. Because business is about risk. And the more educated you are, the more knowledgeable you become, and the more fearful. Let me put it that way. The more careful you become. You see, like now, none of us here is a medic. So wewe chances are unakaa tu hata kunawa mikono ni shida, ukipata chapo hapa wewe unakula tu. It does not really bother you. Na tumesurvive tu hatujakufa, ndio? But if you are a medical student and they have really taught you about those germs and bacteria and what, you keep on washing your hands. Some of them even they wear gloves. So you have interacted with some of them. Yes. So their level of fear, being fearful is higher than this when you have just some medicine. The same applies now. Those of us who are more educated, we are more fearful. I have no problem with education. It's very good. Even me, I have a very good one. You can check my profile and see. But it's a reality that we must be able to appreciate what? Risk. Otherwise, if you go mwoga sana, you will never move. You will never move. Yeah. So I think at that point, we can do a question so that we look at how to measure this risk, and then later on we shall proceed with the discussion. So as I've said, I'll give you more notes that capture these things, but with this is a good summary. So take your handout. Hiyo tumekuwa tukitumia kuna swali tuliskip and I told you I'll come back to it. This is question number 14. Question number 14. Question number 14. The finance manager of Upper Construction Limited has two investment proposals before him and wishes to choose one of them. He will choose the project that offers him higher expected net present value. In case both the projects have the same NPV, he will prefer to approve the project that has lesser risk. If risk is measured by the standard deviation and the data for the two projects are given below, which one should he choose? So we are given that information. So in our workings, tutaipanga namna hii. We shall start by computing expected values. And you remember, expected value of X, we said is given as the sum of the Xi's you multiply by probability of Xi. So, starting with project X, we will have 1500 being multiplied by 0.25 plus 5,000 being multiplied by 0.5 plus 9,000 being multiplied by 0.25. Do that and give me the answer. Decima? 5,165. So for project Y, you do the same thing. We have minus 10,000 multiplied by 0.25 plus 5,000 multiplied by 0.5 plus 20,500 multiplied by 0.25. How much? Eh? 51.25. Okay. Now this one is called a point of indifference. Maybe you need to note that, because you will not come across it again. Andika hivi. The expected values present a point of indifference. A point of indifference. This is where all the options are equally good. All the options are equally good. Yeah, this is why you hear some people say, I'm confused between the two. I don't know who to choose. I don't know what to choose. So that is called a point of difference. The next is standard deviation. Standard deviation. So standard deviation delta is given as sum of xi minus x bar square probability of xi, then you get the standard deviation that way, at the square root. So for x, the standard deviation for x, it will be 1500, you minus 5125, you square and multiply by 0.25, plus 5000 minus 5125, you square, multiplied by 0.5, plus 9000 minus 5125, you square, multiplied by 0.25. Then the whole of this, you get the square root, or you raise to power half. You come and do the same thing with y. It is going to be minus 10,000, you minus 5125, you square, multiplied by 0.25, plus 5,000, you minus 5125, you square, multiplied by 0.5, plus 20,500 minus 5125, you square, multiplied by 0.25, you raise power half, and you get the square root. Mhm. What do you have?
It was 604.595. This one.
The second one?
Second one is 10,221.4.
Someone else to confirm? Those who are online also confirm. First one is okay. The second one you have 10,000. 02. You also have the same. So this appears to be the popular one. Okay, so we can then go by this one. The first one, all of us agree. Yeah? Okay. The third item that you need to compute, is called coefficient of variation. It's called coefficient of variation. Now CV is given as standard deviation. You divide by the mean times 100. Yes, Janet. Good. So the CV for X will be, the standard deviation is 2654.595. You divide by the mean. The mean was 51.25. Then you multiply by 100. Then you multiply by 100. What percent?
51.797.
So we can call it 0.8. Yeah? CV for project Y, it is 10,784.102. We divide by the mean. The mean is 51.25 times 100. So table looks like that. We have the expected value. We have standard deviation. And we have coefficients of variation. Here, pili umepata 1%? 4%. So get up to that point. The project selected by a decision maker who is risk neutral. Now, risk neutral fellows, they use the expected values in making decisions. They don't compute standard deviation, they don't compute CV. Now here, because we say they are equal, they are indifferent. So here, they will be indifferent. Indifferent means they are not able to decide which one. But if they were different, if these values were different, you go for the higher or the highest. Go for the higher or the highest. The risk neutral guy does not use the standard deviation, so it's not applicable. Even this one is not applicable as far as the risk neutral person is concerned. The risk taker, he does not use the expected values. So that is not applicable to him. Does not use that. But he uses standard deviation and he goes for the one with the higher risk. So he's going to prefer this one. So he's going to go for project Y. And he also uses the coefficient of variation. And he goes for the higher risk, this one. The risk averse does not use the expected value. The risk averse does not use the expected value. He goes for the standard deviation and he goes for the smaller risk. This one. The same case with CV. Now, these two measures, they are agreeing. By agreeing, we mean they are sending us to the same project. Consider that. But if you are to find in a question, standard deviation inakuambia chukua Y, but CV inakuambia chukua X. That point, we say that they are contradicting. They are conflicting each other. In such a case, you are supposed to take directions from CV. CV is the superior measure. Reason being, CV incorporates other characteristics. Assume in this class mtu aingie tu saa hii akiwa amebeba karatasi ya mtihani ya QA, na atuambie tukalie hiyo karatasi, and whoever will get the highest marks will be given 10,000. Hata mimi niketi hapo. Tuanze. After the results, chances are I will be the highest. Maybe I have gotten 95%. I don't know where utapata nini. When it is time for me to go and get 10,000, will you celebrate me? Why? Hawezi furahia nikipewa 10,000? Why will you not celebrate me? Good. The reason why you will not celebrate is that it is not a fair playing, or it's not a fair level ground. Myself, I'm a teacher. You are my student. So we are not equal. Therefore, we cannot now be judged on the same paper. So if the paper was to be, if the gift was to be fair, then mwalimu akae kando, all the students wapewe hiyo karatasi. So whoever now emerges the winner, even if it's not you, you will congratulate them. Mimi kama nataka hiyo pesa, wacha tuletewe hiyo karatasi tukiwa walimu wa QA. Sasa nikishinda wale walimu wengine, now I can be celebrated. Yeah. So this one, the CV, it is saying, ni kweli umepata 95%. No problem. But on top of that, wewe ni mwalimu. So it is considering two characteristics. That's why it's called a relative nature. It's like someone who is working and has money. Ukimpea 200 shillings, they may not remember you in the afternoon that you gave them 200. Because 200 is too little for them. They are used to good money or big money. But someone who has not been working and is seriously struggling, who compare 200, they will talk about you the whole week or the whole month. That tells you the 200 was more important to this guy who is not working than it was to the fellow who is working. So if you were to just look at it as 200, you would say it is the same, because we will compare 200 with 200. But when you bring the second character, that who you is working, this one is not working, then the whole equation changes. The whole equation changes. And that is the correct measure. Even in life, when you're making decisions, it is good to compare yourself with others. But as you compare, you must also bring other differences. Otherwise, you will forever keep on condemning yourself. You see, like now, you people, do you think you perform the same way? I'm teaching all of you at the same time. The same concept. Mtihani itakuwa the same. Will you perform the same way? Why? What are some of the differences? Some differences. Hard work. Although hard work is controllable, let's talk of the differences that could be beyond you. Intelligence. We are gifted different. What else? Gender. You think gender is a factor? Huh? Gender is not a factor. Gender is a very serious factor. Look at even when they are admitting at universities. Are ladies admitted with the same points with men as men? Who is admitted with lower points? The women or the ladies. Why? You find if the course has a minimum entry of 67 points, or whatever they call them, 67. A man who has 66 will be rejected, but a lady who has 65 will be taken. Why? It's because of unfairness. Do you think that is true? Is it fair? And you are the same women who tell us what a man can do, you can do better. So if I'm being taken by 67, now that you can do better than me, you should be taken at 69. What do you think?
I think everything is the old way. You can always be paying men higher. Less.
But does it make it fair?
Why do they have to?
The reason as why it's so and it's fair and it's global. Although now what you're saying, men are paid higher than women. Eh? Yeah, that's what I'll discuss the opposite. But for the education, a girl child has many distractions in life compared to a boy child. For example, this morning, if you were to ask and you will not ask for the answer. Erede was in this class. By the time she came to this room, most likely tangu alitoka kwa nyumba kuna watu kadhaa wamfungia kwa chia, wamfungia chia nini, kujaribu kumshika mko. Those kind of behaviors. Even in the corridors like here, unapata jamaa anakufungia mlango tu anakufungia chia. So as I am teaching, this lady is wondering, huyu mtu alikuwa ananifungia chia ndani. Alikuwa anataka nini? What will I do when I meet them next? Who will help me? But for you gentlemen, most likely for the last 2 months, hakuna mtu amekufungia chia, hakuna mtu amekubodha kujua jina yako. Na kama kuna mtu alijaribu kukusimamisha, this morning as you are coming, you are just banding, asking the class itaisha saa ngapi uende ukadili na yeye. Is that so? Yes. So this girl child has many distractions. I don't know whether you stay more in this class and hii mambo ya online at times imekuja kuharibu some social patterns. Eh? You would see that when you are in this class, mukikaa hapa break time, ladies are the ones who receive visitors from outside the class. But gentlemen, wewe utakaa hapa kuna mtu anakutembelea. Sasa kama wewe hutatembelewa, si unaendelea kufanya assignment zako pole pole. Hakuna mtu anakusumbua. Lakini hao wengine as soon as I leave, there are some fellows who want to come. So sasa atafanya assignments ngapi? Tasoma saa ngapi? That's the reason why they have to be taken at that. Yes. But that does not mean they are weak. Actually, research has it that women are very strong compared to men, are stronger. It says that women have very good shock absorbers. It's actually one of the factors that, or maybe before I talk of that, it is saying that women have very good shock absorbers. If you are to subject a man and a woman to the same amount of stress, the man will collapse while the lady appears like nothing is happening in her life. She's able to. Yeah. The issue of multitasking is the second strength that says our human brain is divided into 2 sides. There is the left and the right hand side. Now, a lady is able to use the 2 sides at the same time. That's why they're able to multitask. But a man, we only use 1 side at a time. That's why we don't multitask. Kama uko left, uko left. Kama uko right, uko right. But a lady can operate both. But as a result, because the man is using 1, he appears to think fast. If you pose the same problem to a man and a lady, a man will give you an answer very fast. Or a response. A lady will be a bit slow. But the disadvantage again is, because the man is very fast, chances are you not have considered the decision very well. So it will not be a good one. But a lady will have considered it. Look at even what happens in relationships. A man can come and adanganye msichana, akitoka pale, hiyo maneno imeisha. because him he used one side, kafikiria haraka na akaenda. But for a lady, before she says yes, it is a well calculated decision. It is not very easy for them to change because ni kitu ameipima, amefikiria. But for men, naona tu hivyo unafikiria haraka na unasonga. Now, because of these two, we have now had, actually the third one, I was looking for the third one, is a research paper you can search in the internet to see it. Ladies are good in figures compared to men. So because of these findings, we have witnessed now most of the government and parastatals elevating women to positions of leadership. Look at this, what is happening in the country. Even in government, the appointments. Point out, lazima na sisi tuandike yetu ya counter these things. But that is what is there. Okay, so now what were you saying before we came to all those things? Can't remember even where you are. But at least tumemaliza hiyo swali. So in the past papers, let me look for a question. We will do in the past papers. Yeah, this one of May 2017. May 2017, question 2C. May 2017, question 2C. Just a minute. Let's proceed now with the discussion. And the first thing that I need us to mention is decision-making process. Decision-making process or stages. And when you're making a decision, it always begins by identification of the objective. That is always the first thing. Objective is what you want to achieve. So you must know what is it that I want to achieve. Like when you are coming to this class, it must have been very clear in your mind why you have come. Number two, you identify what we call the options. Options, they are also what people call choices. They are also what people call alternatives. They are what people call alternatives. And why they are called so is because they are within control. They are within control of the decision maker. So you must know my problem is to pass the exam. That's my objective. What are the options? I can go to class, I can read on my own, or I can just choose to relax and wait for the exam. All those are possible what? Options. And they are within your control. Like you are coming to this class this morning, it was purely within your control. No one forced you. No one brought you by force. The third step is to identify what we call outcomes. Now, these outcomes, they are what in other areas you hear people calling consequences. Consequences. And some other people will call them states of nature. They call them states of nature. And why we call them so is because they are beyond control. Beyond control. Now that you came to this class, you have no choice than to listen to me. Now that you enrolled in Destiny, you have no choice than to be taught QA by me. You are not even consulted whether unataka kufunzwa QA na nani. You are not even consulted when the timetable will be. Because you came, the consequences are what we have there in the timetable. And you can't run away. That's the other problem with the states of nature. You must stay there. You either enjoy if your choice was good, or you endure if your choice was bad. And when you try to run away, and you want to blame some of us, we will be kind enough to remind you to take responsibility of your choice or your action. That's why it's very, very important to always consult before you make a choice. Because the moment you make a choice, sasa unakaa hapo mpaka hiyo maneno ishe. Number 4, it is where you know the type of decision that you are dealing with. The type of decision that you're dealing with. We have two main types. There is what we call single, and there is what we call multiple. Now, for single and multiples, maybe you will get to understand them as we have questions. Number 5 is where you compute the payoffs. You compute the payoffs. Now, payoffs is the other word for profits. And this is simply the revenue minus the costs. The revenue minus the cost. That is what we call the payoff. Step number 6, you prepare a summary. You prepare a summary of what you have been doing. And there are 2 summaries. One is payoff table. Payoff table. And payoff table is used when you're dealing with SIGOs. When you're dealing with SIGO stage. Or you use a decision tree. You use a decision tree. Now, a decision tree is used when you're dealing with multiples. Actually, a decision tree can be used also even in SIGOs. After you have done the summary, you make the choice or you select one option, the preferred option. You select the preferred option. You select the preferred option. And obviously, number 8, you now implement. And evaluate. And gather some lessons or gather lessons. Once you have made your choice, you now implement it. Wakati uliamua unaenda destiny. Then ukakuja ukalipa. Ukaanza kusoma. As you are continuing in destiny, you are evaluating. Did I make the right choice? Did I make the wrong choice? Those evaluations will give you conclusions, which we are calling what? Lessons. These lessons, you shall use them in future when either you as an individual you want to make a similar decision or someone close to you wants to make a similar decision. You as an individual, after this semester, see there will be another semester when you'll be deciding whether to come back to destiny or not to come back to destiny. So that choice will be guided by the evaluation you get this semester. If you don't come back, or when you will have finished and you hear of someone in the process of making such a decision, you can now tell them either to go to destiny or not to go to destiny. And the same case applies to many other decision situations. Now, the notes that I'll give you may not bring out these steps, especially from here in these 2, in those ways, because they are more academic, but this is more practical. The other thing is when you're making the option here, or when you're making the choice, we use some rules. We use some rules, and these rules are given or they are guided by the environment. So we have the environment. Actually, you can even prepare it like a team. We have the environment and we have the rule. When you're making a decision, it depends on the environment in which you are in. You see, like now, the way we make car is because you're in this environment. If you're in a different environment, you don't be seated like that. Actually, when I move out of this class in a few minutes, the environment will change. And you start doing some things that you're not doing now, most likely. Like right now, you're not talking to your friend or your neighbor. Chances are, after you get out, you start talking. So the choices we make, they are dependent on the environment in which we are in. Now we have 4 environments. The first environment is called environment of certainty. Environment of certainty. Now, the environment of certainty, it is where everything is well known. And in this one, we don't have actually a choice. There is just one option and one outcome. For example, the issue of this class coming to an end is an environment of certainty. For sure, we know this class lazima ifike mahali ishe. Is that so? What we do not know as at now is the exact point of time at which the lesson will end. But we are sure the lesson will end. So here, no choice is made. No choice is made. No choice is made. The next one is called environment of competition. Now, environment of competition is where we have more than one person interested in one item, and that item cannot be subdivided, such that all the interested persons will have a small share. A case in point is this presidency that we are witnessing now, this competition. Before the IABC, I think we had, before the IABC clearances, I think we had 54 guys. After the clearance, now we have 4 of them. All of them are looking for one position. Na hiyo position haiwezi gawanywa. Huyu achukue kidogo, huyu kidogo, huyu kidogo. It will just be one. The others will go home empty-handed. So because of that, competition easily brings in what we call conflict. Naona kama hiyo wakati wa siasa, because of the competition, mahasira zimeanza kupanda. Unapata mtu mlikuwa rafiki, saa hii amuongeleshani sababu wewe ni wa Azimio na yeye ni ya kwanza, or vice versa. And you're not even politicians. That's the foolishness of it. Wewe si mwanasiasa, yeye si mwanasiasa. But because there is that competition, it brings conflict. Actually, we call it the science of conflicts. Now, this one, we use a method called game theory. Fortunately or unfortunately, they have removed this topic from their syllabus. So yes, that's on So I will not teach you that. We used to teach, but in the new syllabus it's not there now. The next environment is called environment of uncertainty. Now, this is where we have more than one possible outcomes, but we do not know exactly which one will come out to be. And we also do not have probabilities that can help us compute. Like when you sit for an exam, there are more than one possible outcomes, and you don't have data to compute the exact one. So the rules that we use here, we have what we call max. We have another one called max min. We have another one called Laplace. We have another one called Howitt. We have another one called Savage. We have another one called minimax regret. Those are the rules that are used in that environment. Those are the rules that are used in that environment. And the last environment is called environment of risk. Now, in the environment of risk, it is just like this uncertainty, but now we have probabilities. So this one uses what we call expected monetary value. Expected monetary value. Expected monetary value, that's the first rule. And the second one is called most likely event. Most likely event. most likely event. So those are the four environments that we have. The four environments that we have in decision making. So when we start handling questions, we shall just confine ourselves to this environment in this one. Yeah. Then there is something else called value of information. For that one, there is nothing to write. Value of information is the how much you are willing to pay to acquire information. You see, when you are making a decision, you require information so that you don't make the wrong choice. So how much money are you willing to pay to acquire that? So we will stop there for now. In a few minutes, those who are physical, I'll bring you the hard copies for the notes. Those who are online, I will post in the group. Yeah. So tomorrow, I am finding it a bit congested on my side, so I will not be able to attend the lesson because I'm expecting some visitors from Castle, and because I will come to class at around 9, so in case they also come before 10, we may be disrupted. So, but are here, let us wait and meet next week on Monday. So thank you. See you then. This one was being recorded, so I need to edit.